Have you ever had hair extensions? My friend tried it once and it became her nightmare. This is Lucy, my best friend. Since that incident, she never dared to grow her hair long again. The story began when we were in our sophomore year of university. One day, Lucy and I were walking down the street when we were drawn to a small hair salon. The atmosphere inside gave me an inexplicable sense of gloom. The walls were adorned with photos of many girls sporting different hairstyles. My eyes stopped on a picture of a girl with unevenly chopped short hair, smiling at me. I was horrified and stepped closer to stare at it.
What's wrong?
I pointed at the picture for Lucy to see. But when I looked again, it was just a girl with a neat short haircut.
Those are all our former customers. You can also choose a style like theirs.
Their hair looks so beautiful and natural.
Of course, all the wigs here are made from real hair. You can check the samples over here.
She led us to a shelf displaying various wigs.
Sophia, this really is real hair. It feels completely different from the ones in other salons.
She carefully browsed through the options before deciding on a long, silky wig. As I touched the wig Lucy had chosen, I suddenly felt a chill run down my spine. A faint yet distinct smell of blood mixed with perfume wafted into my nose. I was about to warn Lucy, but the salon owner quickly ushered her into a chair to begin the extension process. That night, after getting the extensions, Lucy started having strange dreams. In her dreams, she saw many people standing at the foot of her bed, repeatedly whispering. Suddenly, a girl rushed toward her, holding a pair of scissors and frantically cutting Lucy's hair.
Give me back my hair. Give me back my hair.
The nightmares kept repeating, leaving Lucy increasingly terrified. Many nights, she felt as if someone was yanking her hair from behind, even though she was alone. One day, I visited Lucy's place and found her sitting in front of the mirror, brushing her hair repeatedly. With every stroke of the brush, strands of hair kept falling onto the floor. Lucy, why is your hair falling out so much?
It's not. I feel like I have even more hair now.
Look at the floor! Only then did Lucy panic. She ran her fingers through her hair and a large chunk fell out, tangling in her hand. She turned to the mirror, horrified to see her hair in uneven patches, some short, some long. A chill ran down my spine. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The next morning, we rushed back to the salon to have the extensions removed. But when we arrived, we were stunned. The place was crowded with people, gathered to witness something shocking. Excuse me, what's going on here?
I heard the owner of the salon kidnapped people, cut their hair to sell, and then killed them.
At that moment, the police escorted the salon owner out of the shop. She flinched slightly when she saw us, then quickly averted her gaze. As the crowd gradually dispersed, I looked into the shop and was horrified to see my own picture hanging on the wall. But the photo had been altered. Someone had deliberately changed Lucy's face. Lucy, when did you take this picture?
I never took any photos here.
After that day, Lucy's behavior changed drastically. She would sit blankly in front of the mirror, then suddenly grab a pair of scissors and frantically chop off her own hair. Lucy now looked exactly like the shadowy figures she had described from her nightmares. From that moment on, I never saw her grow her hair long again. Though many years have passed, whenever we talk about it, we can't help but shudder.
I once dropped something in the hospital restroom, and it was returned to me. But that became the reason I never dared to be alone in a hospital again. About 2 years ago, I was hospitalized due to migraines. That night, I woke up suddenly with the urge to use the bathroom. I got out of bed and walked straight to the restroom at the end of the hallway. While sitting there, I pulled out my phone and played with it for a while. Suddenly, I heard slow, dragging footsteps, like someone was slowly approaching. I looked down through the gap beneath the door. I saw a pair of wrinkled, skinny feet, probably belonging to an elderly person, maybe in their 60s or 70s. At first, I didn't think much of it, assuming it was another patient like me. Then I heard the sound of water dripping onto the floor. Curious, I looked down again. The feet were still standing still, but blood was dripping down, forming a dark red puddle. A sense of dread crept up inside me. I quickly pushed the door open and stepped out, but I froze. There was no one outside, only a pool of blood where the person had been standing. The restroom light began flickering, flashing on and off. Terrified, I ran straight back to my room without daring to look back. Around 2 a.m., just as I was drifting off, I heard those dragging footsteps again, like someone slowly approaching. This time, I dared to crack my eyes open, my heart pounding in my chest. An old man, around 60 or 70, was slowly walking toward me.
Young man, you left this in the restroom. Take it.
I followed his hand with my eyes. God, it was my phone! Before I could even thank him, he had already turned to leave. I thought to myself how lucky I was that he had picked it up for me. The next morning, I searched all around the hospital to thank that old man, but couldn't find him. Finally, I asked the nurse when she came in to check on me. Excuse me, have you seen an elderly man, around 60 or 70, around here?
There's only the old man in the room next to yours. But he passed away last night.
Hearing that, I was stunned into silence. I didn't say another word to anyone. When I opened my phone, I discovered a strange photo taken during the night. It was a picture of me sleeping, with the old man standing beside my bed. He was staring straight at me with a grin that stretched from ear to ear. Right after that, I called my mom to pick me up immediately. I never wanted to stay in that terrifying place for even another minute.
I was an online seller and had just moved into a new house to support my business. Luckily, I found a rather spacious house in a small neighborhood, and the rent was incredibly reasonable. During the first few nights living there, I was often awakened by the sound of scissors echoing from the next room. I thought to myself, could it be a thief? Summoning all my courage, I went out to check. But as soon as I opened the door, the sound disappeared, and the door to the other room remained tightly shut. Everything seemed normal, as if nothing had happened, so I tiredly returned to my bedroom. A while later, I was woken up again by the same sound, but this time it was louder and more urgent. A growing sense of unease crept over me, and my heart pounded in my chest. I got out of bed and went to the next room, but just like before, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. As I was about to close the door, I suddenly noticed a woman standing in the middle of the room. Her head bowed. She was holding a pair of rusty scissors, the blades dripping with a thick, dark liquid onto the floor. I stood frozen in the doorway, my legs glued to the ground, unable to move. Who are you? Why are you in my house? The woman didn't answer. Instead, she slowly lifted her face and it was no longer intact. Her mouth had been slit open all the way to her ears and deep scratches covered her face, oozing fresh blood. Terrified, I let out a scream, only to realize I was lying in bed with sunlight streaming in through the window. Was it just a dream? But the fear felt so real and cold sweat drenched my body. Unable to shake off my unease, I decided to call the landlord to ask about the woman. However, he dismissed my concerns, saying he knew nothing, before hurriedly hanging up. I had a gut feeling that he was hiding something about the history of the house. That night, the events repeated themselves, but this time, the sound seemed to be right next to my ear. Frightened, I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to block out the chilling noise. Moments later, the sound suddenly stopped, and I thought that perhaps it was finally over. But when I opened my eyes, I was horrified to see the woman floating above me on the ceiling, laughing eerily. Her face drew closer and closer, her icy breath sending shivers down my spine. Overcome with terror, I screamed, mustering all my strength to leap out of bed and dash out of the house. Her sinister laughter echoed behind me, following every step I took. That night, I booked a nearby hotel to stay in, desperate to get away from that cursed house. The next morning, as I returned, I ran into a neighbor who had just come back from somewhere. Hello, ma'am. I just moved into the house across the street.
You live in that house?
Yes, but I'm planning to move out today. Is there something wrong?
A long time ago, a woman was brutally murdered by her husband in that house.
Why did her husband do that?
She was having an affair, and when her husband found out, he slit her face and then killed her before turning himself into the police.
I saw her last night. Her face was horrifying.
Ever since she died, she's been haunting that house, scaring off women with beautiful faces like yours.
A chill ran down my spine, sending a wave of goosebumps over my skin. Did you often go to the library at night? I once had a terrifying experience staying there after dark. I was a sophomore majoring in education, a book enthusiast to the point of forgetting to eat and sleep. The university library was my paradise, a place where I could immerse myself in every word. But it closed too early, and the most precious books were not allowed to be taken home. One day, while wandering between the bookshelves, I discovered a hidden corner where the security cameras couldn't reach. A bold idea struck me. I pulled a book from the shelf, quietly slipped into the hidden spot, and held my breath as I waited. The sound of the library doors locking echoed, followed by the librarian's departing footsteps. I sighed in relief, thrilled as I opened the book and lost myself in my own world. Just as I was engrossed in reading, a faint sound like someone flipping through pages broke the silence. Is there still someone here at this hour? Cautiously, I got up and followed the sound, but the moment I got close, it abruptly stopped. Right then, a long, chilling whistle echoed from behind me. Under the dim moonlight filtering through the glass windows, I saw a pair of blood-red eyes staring at me. The eyes moved closer, revealing the figure of a young man with pale, ghostly skin. A shiver ran down my spine. Panicked, I screamed and turned to run. When I reached the library doors, I suddenly remembered they were locked. There was no way out. I collapsed to the floor, tears streaming down my face as I desperately cried for help. The young man appeared before me, his hollow eye sockets writhing with swarming insects. Those insects began falling onto my head, my arms. I shrieked in terror, frantically scratching at my skin to get rid of the writhing creatures. Just then, the flashlight flickered, and he vanished, leaving only the sound of rushing footsteps. My body trembled uncontrollably, my heart pounding as if it would burst from my chest. A security guard rushed in, hastily unlocking the doors and pulling me outside.
Why are you here at this hour?
There was a ghost inside. My entire body felt drained, the eerie sensation still clinging to me. The next day, As I sat in the cafeteria, my hands still trembled while holding my glass of water. Suddenly, Jane, a close sister figure to me, sat down across from me, her eyes filled with concern.
What's wrong? You don't look well.
Last night, I saw a ghost in the library. It was terrifying.
Why were you in the library at night? It closes in the evening.
Slowly, I recounted the entire story from the night before. She sighed deeply before revealing a chilling truth. 2 years ago, a young man had been pushed out of the library window by a group of classmates and died. But to protect the university's reputation, the school declared that he had taken his own life due to depression. The bullies escaped punishment thanks to their family's influence. After that incident, the school decided to stop allowing the library to stay open late. I haven't dared to return to the library since that night. But every time I pass by, I always feel like someone is standing inside, watching me.